Thank you everybody for coming today. We really appreciate you doing this via the Ivan. Starting to implement the latest version or the latest module in the manager self-service piece, which is the hiring and onboarding. We started with the termination process, and then we've been doing that for about a year now. And so this is basically the final stage of this MSS module for hiring and onboarding that we'll be talking about today. It's important that we get this module implemented fully and that we're fully up and comfortable using it, because the next module of PeopleSoft that's being implemented by the university system is called Time and Labor and Absence Management, and that module, or those two modules together actually, are set to kick off in summer of this year, summer of 2016. So, and we need to have this one up and moving and be comfortable with it so that we're ready for the next one, because they are very much tied in together. As we go through here and start with talking about manager self-service, one of the big changes and the big reasons why we need to have this going for absence management and time and labor is because we need to have everything in the system, and by in the system I mean fully into job data before the effective date of the actual event that's happening. So if it's an effective date of hire or an effective date of change, if you're giving somebody a pay rate change or you're changing a title or doing something like that, all of those transactions now, in order to work with absence management and time and labor, they need to be in the system by that effective date. So we have known and loved the pay leg for many years now, since we went live to PeopleSoft. As you know, as an example, if you had something that was effective sometime between the March 1st and 15th pay period, you would have until the end of that pay period, until around March 15th, to have that into our office. We would be able to get it in and have it in time so that the first payroll run for March 31st was effective. With absence management and time and labor, if we don't have that pay rate change, hire, title change, whatever it is, in the system on the effective date that is to be in effect, the employee won't be able to punch in. The employee won't be able to request leave. Approvals will not happen with those kinds of things. So as we transition here, we need to, as a campus, as a university, move towards thinking more of being proactive with everything that we want to do and starting everything routing far ahead of time rather than kind of towards the end of the pay leg period. So that's my little pitch for that. Obviously, we know that will be a transition, and we know that that's not an easy thing to do, but it is something that we need to be working towards, because we need to be able to have everything in place and working smoothly with absence management and time and labor. So with that, I will be going through step-by-step process, but I will start going through the manual that Colette had emailed out earlier. And so we're going to start by going through the manual. And as we do this, I'm going to show you where you can bring it up. This is a living document. We have already updated it a few times since we've started implementing manager self-service on campus. If you need to find it again or want to check on it in another couple weeks and see if there's something more updated, if you go to the Human Resources and Payroll website, under the Administrative Office Toolbox, there's a non-benefited hire process area. And in that non-benefited hire process area is the PDF document that we're going to go through today, called Manager Self-Service Onboarding Manual. So I'll start just by going through the manual, and then we will, as I get through here, I will move away from the manual and actually show a live demo of the start of the hire process. So, but we'll start with the manual first. If you have questions as we're going along, please feel free to unmute and ask a question. We welcome any questions or comments as we're going. You don't need to save them for the end. Something we will be doing at the end is we'll be going through how to properly examine and fill out an I-9 form, and so we will do that piece at the end. So, and that piece isn't in the manual here, but we will be talking about that. So I just want to get that out here. The introduction, I kind of already touched on that piece. It's the manager self-service is going to fall through workflow paths, just like it does for the term process. It's got pre-approved and automated workflow paths that hire is now going to be going through. Everything that we're discussing today is very much focused on your non-benefited hires. The benefited hire piece isn't going to vary a whole lot for you, and so I don't spend a lot of time today talking about the benefited hire piece. I will go over some of the differences, but most of what you all in your areas are going to be doing when you're initiating hires and manager self-service is going to be centered around your non-benefited employees. And again, it's driven by initiating your hires early. So the big change that we're doing as we implement this, besides going to online, which is less green paper floating around that you have to worry about mailing, is we're going to be doing the I-9 process differently than what we had been doing before. This module does have an electronic I-9 capability, and we piloted this manager self-service module with a small group of departments, 2 ag departments and 2 academic departments, starting in November of 2015, just to kind of get our feet wet and see what worked and what didn't. And when we piloted it, one of the things that we found that didn't work was the electronic I-9. Not that it didn't work in electronic capability, but it didn't work with timing of how we as a business do things. The electronic I-9, as you'll see as we go through, falls way at the end of the hire approval process. And so what we were encountering just with the 4 departments that we were implementing with is we were really struggling to get that I-9 done on time, in a timely manner, and making sure that we were being compliant with that. So we talked with the pilot group and talked with the central administrative offices that we were also working with on the pilot, and we decided as a pilot group that we were going to go away from using the electronic I-9 that was delivered in PeopleSoft with this, and we were going to continue with paper I-9s. Painful, I know, because I was really looking forward to being able to have that all electronic, but we're really struggling to remain compliant. So the piece that is going to be different is that I-9 is going to need to be done completely Section 1 and Section 2 with examining the documents before the employee can start work. And so that's going to be the biggest change. Before, when we have been doing paper and routing paper around, we've always struggled with compliance with the I-9, with getting it done in the timely manner that it is required to be done with. And so as we're implementing this, we are also implementing this change. The I-9 will be needed to be completed for, again, I'm talking your non-benefited employees, before they are able to start work. So that's the reason why at the end of this presentation, if you've never been shown or walked through how to complete Section 2 of an I-9, that's why I will do that piece at the end, so that you all will be able to examine and sign off on those I-9 documents, so that you don't have to try to coordinate with scanning or doing something, email, whatever, with or faxes or something with our office, the Central HR Payroll office. So you will be able to examine the I-9s and sign off on them after I've talked you through everything by the end of the day today, so that you can start doing that and you can provide that service for the employees that are actually working in your areas.